Welcome to the History and Focus channel. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this one. Men gathered in a saloon gamble at a betting table, a common practice in the Old West. Saloons were centers for gambling, drinking, and social interaction. Cowboys, miners, and traders frequented these spaces, where games like poker and roulette provided entertainment, high stakes, and occasional heated conflicts. Around 1900, in the Old West, some communities practiced a New Year's ritual where women knelt before their husbands to ask forgiveness for past mistakes. Interestingly, these ceremonies also strengthened social bonds in small communities. Josie Washburn was one of the Old West's most famous figures, known for her bold personality and presence in towns like Deadwood. She stood out not only for her beauty, but also for her business acumen, running a popular saloon. Washburn defied social norms by engaging in entertainment and business management, a rare position for women of her time. A lively scene in an Old West saloon shows men and women socializing, with the bar in the background. These saloons were hubs of frontier towns, offering drinks, music, and even social events. They were spaces for celebrations, deals, and entertainment, often in makeshift settings. Rose Dunn, known as the Rose of Cimarron, became famous in the Old West for her connection with outlaw George "Red" Higgins. Courageous and fearless, she actively participated in escapes and wielded weapons, defying the era's norms. The image portrays Cathay Williams, the first African-American woman to serve in the U.S. Army during the Old West. Disguised as a man, she enlisted in the 38th Infantry, serving as William Cathay. Her story is one of the few documented of African-American women in the military at the time. Belle Starr, known as the Queen of Bandits, became famous in the Old West for her involvement with notorious criminals like Jesse James and the Younger Brothers Gang. Accused of horse theft, she was arrested in 1883, but her true role in criminal operations remains debated. She was murdered in 1889 under mysterious circumstances, a crime never solved. Al Jennings, a former lawyer turned outlaw in the Old West, became notorious for train and bank robberies. After his arrest, he sought rehabilitation, becoming a political figure and writer. His story reflects the blend of crime and social reintegration that marked the late 19th century in the American West. Men pose around the body of an outlaw, a common practice in the Old West to show justice was served. Photographs like these were used as proof and warnings against criminal activity. Conflicts between bandits and authorities were frequent in lawless territories. A busy Old West street reveals men gathered outside a saloon and other essential businesses, like general stores. These towns grew around mining and trade routes, with saloons serving as hubs for negotiations and entertainment. Brothels in the Old West were as common as saloons, catering to miners and cowboys seeking companionship. Despite their illegality, many madams held influence and even funded town improvements. Women like Jenny Rogers, the Queen of Denver, ran lucrative businesses. Famous establishments like the Green Front became iconic, with some workers sending earnings to families far away. The scene depicts a bar in the Old West, possibly in Wyoming, where armed men force another to perform the bullet dance by shooting at his feet. While it might seem like a game, this act was often used to intimidate or humiliate. Saloons like this were social centers, but also venues of violence, where disputes or power demonstrations were part of daily life. Two Cheyenne men participate in the Sundance ritual, marked by symbolic chest wounds. This ritual, practiced by various Plains tribes, symbolized sacrifice and spiritual renewal. It was a central ceremony to strengthen community bonds and honor ancestral beliefs. Olive Oatman, captured by the Yavapai in 1851 and later adopted by the Mojave, displays traditional facial tattoos representing her integration into the tribe. These marks also symbolized spiritual protection. Her story of survival and reintegration into American society reflects the complex relationships between settlers and native peoples. Billy the Kid, a famous outlaw of the Old West, appears holding a rifle. Involved in conflicts like the Lincoln County War, he gained notoriety for his gun skills. His short life and untimely death fueled myths, making him one of the era's most recognizable figures. Cowboys were essential for cattle raising and management, as shown in this image. Cowboys spent long hours riding across vast areas, tending herds. Open ranges and their horseback skills were crucial for ranch operations, which supported the rural economy of the time. African American cowboys, a largely overlooked part of Old West history, played a crucial role in cattle ranching and long-distance drives. This 1880 photo shows cowboys in typical attire: jeans, leather gloves, bandanas, and hats. Around 25% of cowboys were African American, many of them formerly enslaved individuals who found freedom and opportunity as cowhands after the Civil War. Old West saloons were notorious for serving improvised and dangerous liquors, like rotgut liquor, a mix of alcohol, turpentine, and ammonia. Popular drinks included the Alston cocktail, made with gin and peppermint schnapps, and the B&S, a mix of brandy and soda. Spotted Eagle, a member of the Atazapcola Lakota, is photographed in 1872 holding a firearm, symbolizing how Native Americans adapted to changes. The Lakota were renowned for their resistance during the Indian Wars. Spotted Eagle participated in negotiations with the U.S. government, balancing tradition and survival amid American expansion. The wrecked interior of a train car reveals the dangers faced during the railroad expansion in the Old West. Accidents, explosions, and outlaw attacks were frequent risks. Despite challenges, railroads played a crucial role in connecting isolated regions, boosting the transport of goods, people, and city growth. The Buffalo Soldiers, African American units established in 1866, protected settlements, built roads, and engaged with native tribes during westward expansion. Their name was given by native peoples, impressed by their bravery and endurance, likening them to buffalo. Despite severe discrimination, the Buffalo Soldiers played a vital role in U.S. military history. Caravans like this crossed arid deserts, essential for transporting goods in remote areas. Wagons were pulled by mules, resilient to extreme heat. The route recalls the gold rush and borate transportation, crucial in Death Valley. The roads were dangerous and scarce. Pioneers rest under the shade of towering saguaro cacti, common in the arid American Southwest. These giants can reach 50 feet and live over 2 centuries. Arizona was known for its harsh yet strategically significant terrain for trade routes in the Old West. Cowboys pause at a creek with some bathing, while others tend to horses and wagons. During long cattle drives, these moments of rest were vital. Water sources were precious in arid regions, ensuring the survival of men and animals. The 1889 land run in Oklahoma shows settlers racing on horseback and in wagons to claim government-distributed lands. This event marked the occupation of native territories and the rapid frontier expansion. Thousands competed for fertile lands, creating new communities in a process that drastically transformed the Old West landscape. Maimon, a Mojave Native American, is depicted with a bow and arrow, essential tools for hunting and defense in the Old West. Beyond his skill, Maimon worked as a guide interpreter in the 1870s, particularly in Colorado, bridging cultures during intense conflict. For the Mojave and other tribes, the bow symbolized survival and the preservation of ancestral traditions. A group of Paiute Native Americans in Camas, Utah, during the 19th century stand near their traditional teepees. In 1866, in Circleville, Utah, a massacre involving settlers resulted in the death of at least 30 Paiutes in retaliation for attacks on settlers. This incident is part of the widespread violence faced by Native peoples during the westward expansion. A dust storm approaches a rural community, a common scene in the Great Plains during the Old West. These storms, caused by soil erosion due to intensive farming and adverse weather, made settlers' lives difficult. A military caravan led by General George Custer crosses the plains of Dakota Territory, now North and South Dakota. Custer, known for his leadership during the Indian Wars, commanded operations against tribes like the Sioux and Cheyenne. His career ended tragically in the 1876 Battle of Little Bighorn, where he and his troops were defeated. This group is part of the Buffalo Bills Wild West show cast, photographed in the 1890s. Dressed as cowboys, they recreated Old West scenes, including chases, shootouts, and roping. The show was a popular spectacle that romanticized Western life, helping build the cowboy myth and its influence on American culture. During the 19th century, rivers like the Rio Grande were major obstacles along migration and transportation routes. To cross, pioneers often used improvised rafts or built temporary bridges, risking lost cargo or even lives. Stacks of buffalo hides pile up, showcasing the intense hunting during the Old West. Between 1800 and 1880, millions of buffalo were killed, primarily for the hide trade, pushing the species to near extinction. These animals were essential for native tribes, who utilized every part of the buffalo. The camp depicts the Shoshone, a Native American tribe of the Old West, renowned for their ability to adapt to mountainous environments. The image shows a Yupik shaman performing an exorcism ritual in Alaska during the 1890s to ward off evil spirits. Native legends, like the Navajo skinwalker, described shape-shifting beings that caused spiritual imbalance. These beliefs reflect indigenous worldviews where balance between good and evil forces was crucial for community harmony. A group of Brule Sioux warriors rides across the vast plains, wearing traditional clothing and ceremonial adornments. The name Brule, given by French settlers, derives from Burnt Thigh Nation, referring to a tribal legend. The Brule, part of the Lakota Nation, were skilled strategists and fierce defenders of their territory. Annie Oakley, one of the greatest sharpshooters of the Old West, is depicted performing for a small audience with her horse. Famous for her skills, she captivated audiences with shooting demonstrations, breaking gender barriers. Her firearm expertise made her a star in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, defying the era's expectations. Railroads were vital for expansion. This striking image of the time shows a man observing a river and a railway, connecting distant cities and facilitating the transport of goods. Railroad construction marked a transformative milestone in the American West. The completion of the first transcontinental railroad in 1869 united the country and propelled the Old West's development. Chinese laborers endured extreme conditions to carve tunnels through mountains. The railroad shortened journeys from months to days, facilitating trade, cattle transport, and conflicts with native tribes as territories expanded. In the historic town of Deadwood, this image captures the typical setting of a growing Old West town. During the gold rush, the town experienced a population boom, with streets bustling with ox carts, carriages, and establishments like banks and saloons. Bear hunts were common in the Old West, conducted by pioneers and Native Americans for both survival and prestige. The image shows a group with rifles beside a bear, emphasizing the collaboration between cultures during these expeditions. Camps seen in the background were essential for these long journeys across the vast American landscapes. A massive pile of buffalo skulls illustrates the impact of Old West expansion. Besides the trade of bones for fertilizer and activated charcoal, mass killings were driven by territorial disputes. The buffalo's decline destabilized native cultures that relied on them for survival. A steam locomotive with wide wheels crosses a sandy passage, exemplifying the use of technology for transportation. Known as steam tractors, this innovation helped transport heavy loads over challenging terrain before the complete expansion of railroads. They were common in mining and construction areas in the late 19th century. The building in Langtree, Texas, served as both a courthouse and bar, operated by the eccentric Judge Roy Bean, who proclaimed himself the law west of the Pecos in 1882. Known for his unconventional rulings, Bean sometimes accepted fines in the form of liquor. He conducted trials in the bar while shaping his unique interpretation of justice in the Old West. In the Old West, wild animals like bears were often used in traveling shows to entertain the public. Young bears were kept as curiosities, highlighting the precarious relationship between humans and wildlife. Fortune-telling in the Old West went beyond entertainment. Saloons and caravans were hotspots for services like card readings, tarot, and palmistry. These practices, tied to the superstitions of the era, attracted adventurers, traders, and even gunslingers seeking luck or quick answers. This is an image of the young Apache known as Escaminzan. A skilled warrior and later a prominent leader, Escaminzan played significant roles in the Apache resistance against U.S. expansion during the 19th century. The portrait shows White Wolf, a Chippewa chief also known as John Smith, who reportedly lived over 130 years, making him one of history's longest-living figures. Born around 1785, he witnessed his people's transition during American expansion. During the 1890s, steam dredges were used on the North Saskatchewan River in Edmonton to mine gold from underwater sediments. This period marked the start of the local gold rush, attracting miners seeking wealth. However, the rush faded with the Klondike gold discovery, leaving a historical legacy in the region. This is the Old Mission Church in Zuni Pueblo, New Mexico, built in 1630 during the Spanish colonial era. Originally run by Franciscan priests, the mission aimed to convert native peoples to Christianity. Located in one of the largest Pueblo communities, the church remains a landmark of adobe architecture. Around 1880, 40 tribal chiefs and elders gather beneath a large open teepee to discuss critical matters such as territorial disputes and resistance strategies against U.S. expansion. These meetings were vital for decision-making and cultural preservation. The teepee also served as a space for ceremonies and political debates. Apaches are seen under the watch of soldiers beside a train, highlighting the forced relocations of Native Americans in the late 19th century. Trains were used to transport tribes to reservations, marking the United States expansion. A group of Apaches, including children and adults, pose in front of a branch-made dwelling in Tombstone, Arizona in 1886. Such shelters were common in arid regions, utilizing local materials. Tribes adapted their lifestyles to desert conditions, preserving traditions and subsistence practices. A 1908 photograph shows cowboys branding cattle at the J.L. Ranch in Maple Creek. Branding was essential for identifying livestock ownership in an era when cattle rustling was widespread. A young Piegan woman, photographed in 1910, wears a traditional outfit adorned with beads, symbols of status and spirituality among native peoples. Indigenous communities faced profound cultural transformation with settlers' arrival and railroad expansion. Workers pose alongside a steam locomotive, essential in building Old West railroads. Railroads connected vast regions, transforming the economy and accelerating westward expansion. With the arrival of trains, goods and people moved faster, fostering city growth and attracting settlers, merchants, and miners. A miner works in a narrow shaft with his pickaxe, a typical scene of the Old West during the gold and silver rush. Mining was a major economic activity, attracting thousands seeking fortune. Conditions were harsh, with risks of collapse and exposure to toxic gases. This image captures the construction of the railroad in Green River Valley, Wyoming, with the iconic Citadel Rock in the background. During the U.S. railroad expansion, such projects were vital for connecting the nation, enabling the transportation of people and goods. Brothels in the Old West were social hubs, often decorated luxuriously with pianos to entertain clients. Women like Mattie Silks gained wealth in this industry, challenging societal norms of the time. In 19th century Nebraska, jails often housed criminals who challenged the law in an area still under development. The photo shows James Collins, a tailor and thief, injured after resisting capture. Jailbreaks were common as structures were weak and laws often poorly enforced. This photo depicts a Navajo family at their simple camp, with structures adapted to the local environment and corn hung to dry, indicating agricultural practices. The Navajo, known for their intelligence and adaptability, are one of the wealthiest native tribes in the United States today, excelling in preserving their traditions and economy. In 1908, in Pine Ridge, South Dakota, the Squaw Dance, led by Chief American Horse, took place, an important cultural event among the Oglala Sioux. These dances strengthened community bonds and preserved traditions. Pine Ridge, home to the Oglala, was a historical site of resistance to colonial expansion. In 1879, in Montana's Tongue River Valley, Chief Spotted Eagle's Sioux camp stood among leafless trees, with teepees scattered across the landscape. Made of wood and hides, the teepees were ideal for the Sioux's nomadic lifestyle as they moved in search of resources. During this period, many tribes faced forced relocations due to colonial expansion. The image shows Abraham Lincoln with allies at a camp during the Civil War. Before his 1861 inauguration, Lincoln undertook a long train journey, visiting 11 cities in 10 days. The trip, a political milestone, was also marked by a foiled assassination attempt in Baltimore, uncovered by Agent Allan Pinkerton. The image shows Sister Blandina Segal, a Catholic nun known for her work in the Old West, particularly in Trinidad, Colorado. She founded schools and orphanages, caring for abandoned and orphaned children. Sister Blandina faced frontier challenges, including tensions with native peoples and settlers, gaining recognition for her dedication to community welfare amid territorial expansion. A bustling Old West town showcases stacks of ore at its center, highlighting the role of mining in expansion. Miners work while wagons transport stones. These towns functioned as economic and social hubs, attracting traders, workers, and adventurers seeking fortune. Apache ceremonial dancers appear in traditional attire with elaborate headdresses, used in rituals for protection and healing. The Apaches were known for their resilience in conflicts with settlers and their strategic combat skills. In 1921, in Wichita Falls, Texas, cowgirls performed trick riding, a type of acrobatic horsemanship featured in rodeos and shows. Rodeos began in the 19th century as competitions among cowboys in skills like roping and riding. Charging Thunder, a Lakota chief, joined Buffalo Bill's Wild West show at 26 in 1903. During his journey, he married an American horse trainer and, after the European tour, decided to settle in the United Kingdom. He became a British citizen, working as an elephant trainer at Bellevue Circus in Manchester. His name was later anglicized to George Edward Williams, marking his integration into British society. During the California Gold Rush, which began in 1848, prospectors from diverse backgrounds, including women, worked together to find precious metal. They used simple tools like sieves and pans in rivers and streams. This event attracted approximately 300,000 people, transforming the local economy and accelerating California's statehood. In this image, a survivor of the Donner Expedition is seen at Donner Summit, a site of tragedy and heroism. In 1846, the group sought to reach California but faced delays and harsh Sierra Nevada winters. Trapped for months, they resorted to cannibalism for survival. John Stark is remembered for rescuing 9 children from the starved camp. In the Old West, clashes between outlaws and authorities were common. This photo shows a group of captured outlaws after one such confrontation. During this period, figures like sheriffs and marshals attempted to impose order in towns often dominated by bandits and gangs. In this striking photo from the early 20th century, loggers pose beside a giant sequoia, approximately 100 to 300 years old and nearly 16 feet in diameter, freshly cut down, a symbol of the vast forests in the western United States. A group of Sikh pioneers gathers during a cremation ceremony in early 20th century Canada. These immigrant workers came seeking opportunities, facing discrimination and harsh conditions. Many contributed to building railroads and settlements, leaving a lasting impact on the region. Around 1899, after the major gold rush ended, towns like Dawson, which once had a population of 30,000, quickly emptied. Only the most persistent miners remained, digging in frozen soil with the aid of fires. Miners endured extreme conditions using shovels, sieves, and hydraulic sluices. While gold rushes transformed economies, they often left ghost towns in their wake. This image shows Black Hawk, a mining town in Colorado, founded during the gold rush in the 1860s. Like many Old West towns, its growth was driven by mining, with simple homes and bridges built to facilitate the transport of goods and minerals. Black Hawk became a significant center for gold mining in the region. The image shows an Osage family, one of the most notable native tribes of the Old West. Originally from regions like Missouri, the Osage became known for their wealth after oil was discovered on their lands in the 20th century. Their history is also marked by struggles for territorial and cultural rights, as they were heavily affected by U.S. expansion. The image shows Native Americans during a traditional ceremony, possibly the Sundance, preceding the Wounded Knee Massacre. In 1890, after tensions with the U.S. government, the dance was misinterpreted as preparation for a revolt. The massacre occurred in December, when U.S. troops killed around 300 Lakota Sioux, including women and children, marking the end of armed Native resistance on the Great Plains. Children played crucial roles in family survival. They helped with hunting, defense, and land management. Training with firearms was common due to constant threats from attacks and wild animals. In the early 20th century, leaders of various Native American tribes, as shown in this photo, visited the White House, often seeking better conditions and recognition of their rights. These meetings symbolized Native peoples' struggle to preserve their cultures and lands while facing forced assimilation policies from the U.S. government. A man sits beside a handcrafted puppet performing blackface, used for entertainment or puppet shows. In the Old West and growing urban areas, street performers and puppeteers were common, providing distraction in markets and public events. Narrow trails like this were common in mountainous regions like Colorado. Wagons faced hazardous terrains with risks of falls and landslides. These routes were essential for transporting supplies to miners and settlers in hard-to-reach areas. A blacksmith's workshop in the Old West was vital to frontier towns. The blacksmith forged essential tools, repaired equipment, and crafted items like harnesses and horseshoes. This trade was crucial to the local economy, serving miners, farmers, and cowboys, and played a key role in maintaining infrastructure and transportation. Two men posed beside a prisoner following the Canyon Diablo shootout in Arizona. This confrontation highlighted the violent nature of the Old West, involving fierce battles between outlaws and authorities. Canyon Diablo was infamous for its lawlessness, high crime rate, and swift executions. Native American men pose with rifles and pistols, wearing traditional attire decorated with beads and fringes. In the Old West, tribes used firearms acquired through trade or conflict, blending modern technology with their traditions. In a women's suffrage protest, women march with banners quoting President Woodrow Wilson's support for voting rights. This movement, which intensified in the early 20th century, culminated in the 1920 ratification of the 19th Amendment, granting women the right to vote. The interior of the Big Cottonwood power plant in Utah highlights technological advancements in the Old West, relying on natural resources to power growing towns. Plants like this were vital for developing railroads and mines. The visible Pelton wheel was a crucial hydraulic innovation. Bass Reeves, born enslaved in 1838 in Crawford County, Arkansas, became a legendary figure of the Old West. After emancipation, he lived among Native Americans, learning their languages and customs, which earned him his first job as a guide. Reeves was the first African-American U.S. Deputy Marshal, arresting over 3,000 criminals with an impeccable record. John "Doc" Holliday, one of the Old West's most legendary figures, was originally a dentist, but abandoned the profession after being diagnosed with tuberculosis. He became a professional gambler and gained notoriety as a friend and ally of Wyatt Earp, particularly for his role in the infamous 1881 gunfight at the OK Corral. A vast field of buffalo bones near Lloydminster, photographed in 1874, reflects the devastating impact of commercial hunting. Overhunting nearly drove buffalo to extinction, removing a vital resource for native tribes. The bones were later collected and sold as fertilizer, marking the start of intensive trade practices in the region.